Hi, what I'd like to do today is to introduce you to Toulon 1793. This is a playtest game at the moment. It's going to be published by Legion Wargames, hopefully in the first half of next year, although I need to work on Randy to persuade him of that, but certainly I'd like to see it next year. As the name suggests, it's a simulation of the Siege of Toulon in 1793, where the Republican forces, initially under Carteau, besieged a mixture of Toulonnese, British, Spanish, Neapolitan and Sardinian troops within the city. Although nominally it's a siege game, you'll find, as I show you through a series of videos, that in reality it's more of an operational campaign game. First of all, I'd like to walk you through the various components. I need to stress these are playtest components at the moment, so their actual form and the content itself may well change between now and publication. So, what can you expect to get in the box? Well, there's the rules booklet, which at the moment stands at around 28 pages. The font size and the layout. The font size is quite large. The layout is quite open. So although 28 pages sounds a lot, you can see that the rules are not that dense. As well as the 28-page rule book, there's a playbook, which at present stands at around 12 pages. This includes information on setting up the game, multiplayer games, has optional rules along with a glossary, bibliography, designer's notes, player's notes and possibly some other notes as well. So those are the two documents, the rulebook and the playbook. Counters, you get just under 600 double-sided counters. I believe these will be 5/8 of an inch, and there'll be the usual Legion Wargames Easy Punch counters. I'll show you close-ups of these later. There's basically a sheet there which consists mainly of the combat units from the two sides, along with a few markers. Sheet of various markers there. And then we have lost markers. As you'll see in the series of videos, the losses come in two forms. There are permanent losses and temporary losses. Temporary losses are accounting for such things as desertion, sickness, etc. And they can obviously be recovered. So, along with the rules and the counters, various play aids. We have a set of tracks here. At the top we have the loss differential and the victory point track. Here we have a track which keeps track of whichever side has suffered the most recent significant defeat. We have the turn track here. There are certain turns on which there's special events, and these are marked with an asterisk to remind the players. And then here we have the operations points tracks, one for each of the different nationalities within the battle, and three for the French, one for the East Wing, one for the West Wing, and one for Bonaparte and his batteries. We'll talk more about these as we look at the mechanics of the game in later videos. Also, on these tracks we keep track of ammunition for Bonaparte's batteries. He's able to stockpile ammunition, and also something we call the evacuation trigger, which will increase as the Bonaparte batteries inflict more and more damage on the Allied fleet. The evacuation trigger will rise, eventually obliging the Allies to either take serious losses or to, as the name suggests, evacuate Toulon, as happened historically. Excuse me. Here we have some holding boxes. There are certain locations on the map which will tend to accumulate large numbers of units, so we have off-board holding boxes for those. These two areas here are the depots used in the game for the Republicans, the French Republicans, so we have Orléans and Soliers there. For the Allies, we have the city of Toulon itself, and we also have a holding area for those units which are awaiting debarkation. Other play aids include a double-sided expanded sequence of play, which certainly during play testing we found very useful. A page of turn-specific rules and other rules gotchas that might catch people out, so just a handy reference there to help people remember those points. Something that I don't want people to be afraid of is a flow chart, which is intended to help where units are joining or continuing movement along a road. Now, the road rules in the game are quite novel. I've not seen the like before. I'm not saying they are unique, but I believe they possibly are. And they take a little bit of getting used to. Once you've got the hang of them, they're a doddle. But the flow chart is there really just to help people get over that initial hurdle. We looked at the operation points tracks earlier. This is the operation points cost table. There are various activities that you can perform, including the likes of spying, ensuring you get supply through, bringing reinforcements in early or delaying reinforcements to earn points. Moving through different types of areas will cost different number of operation points. There are 3 area types: friendly, no man's land and enemy, and each of those will have a different cost. You can build redoubts, you can place Bonaparte batteries, or you can make them mobile at certain points in the game. And there are various other activities as well. The operation points system is really at the heart of the game. On the other side here we have the operation points schedule. The different nationalities and different wings will receive varying numbers of operation points as the game progresses, largely determined by the number of units they have on the board, but with some flexing of that, really to help control the tempo of the game. And then finally we have 2-sided charts and tables covering the various functions within the game. So that just leaves us the map to take a look at. So here we have the map. It's a period map actually produced 57 years after the battle in 1850. It features the city of Toulon itself, along with the all-important rads, the Petite Rad and the Grand Rad. You'll see it goes as far south as Cap Sapet and as far north as Mount Faron and up to Soliers, which is one of the French depots, and over on the west we go to Orléans, another of the Republican I should say, depots, because of course the Toulonnais themselves are French. There's a train effects chart, so I beg your pardon, a train key here. You can see we have clear woods, roads, various types of forts, including redoubts, pre-existing redoubts, etc. Below the terrain key we have a battle board, which is just a side area where combat can be resolved. There are 5 types of fortification within the game. We have the yellow forts. These are fairly significant fortifications. We have the green forts, which are less significant. We have pre-existing redoubts, that's those little beach hut symbols, and then we have redoubts that can be produced during the battle, either standard redoubts or what we call improved redoubts. Other aspects of the map of interest are the victory point areas. You'll see these are white V's in a red circle. They are mainly spread around the coast, although there are a couple upon Mount Faron as well. Also, we've got bombardment zones. These are the white symbol with the is it brass monkey? The pile of cannonballs. These have either got a G next to them, indicating they're within range of the Grand Rad, or they'll have a P next to them, indicating they're in range of the Petite Rad. There are a couple which have got both G's and P's, being in range of both. These indicate those areas on which the that are within range of the Rad, so it can be fired on by shipping, but also if you've got batteries there that can fire on ships. It's an area movement game, if you haven't gathered already. You have the normal area boundary, the grey line, but you'll also note that roads also form boundaries to areas, so we don't have roads running through areas, they actually form part of the boundary. And along the roads you have these little white diamonds, which we call reconnaissance points, which basically break up the road. As I said in the introduction, road movement in the game is fairly novel, and will take a little bit of getting used to. Debarkation zones, we have 2 of them at the moment. In fact, we have 2 of them, there'll remain 2. These are used in turn 1 of the game to bring the troops ashore. They will look rather more attractive, hopefully, in the finished game. So that's the map. This is a selection of counters from the game. There are 4 basic types. We have the leader counter. You see young Captain Bonaparte. Leaders are rated A, B or C. That really affects their ability to control and to influence troops. We have infantry. Here we've got the Royal Irish. The first number is the strength. Each strength point represents roughly 100 men. The C2 is their quality. We assess quality as both an alphabetic and a numerical character. The 10 in the little box is simply the turn of arrival. We have cavalry, in this case the Ray Dragoons. Artillery, which comes in 2 forms, either Bonaparte batteries, such as you see here, the sablettes, or the standard artillery. The rules will differentiate between the 2 of them. The W on the sablettes indicates that this unit is associated with the West Wing. So cavalry, artillery, infantry and leaders, and then we have the various nationalities, the blue the French, red British, brown Spanish. These multicoloured here are Sardinians, and the grey and white are Neapolitans, and finally we have the Toulonnais themselves. The units are back printed. Basically, most of the combat units will appear like this, simply indicating the type of unit it is. This is for fog of war reasons. Also, once the unit is set up on the board, the simple rectangle on the sepia background helps to imitate the impression you get on a period map, where they show the units as rectangular symbols on the maps. The Bonaparte battery is a little bit different, in as much as on the reverse it's marked as mobile. The Bonaparte batteries were initially static, only later in the campaign were carriages and wheels fitted to allow them to be moved around. So, those are the various units that you get. So, that's a whistle-stop tour of the components of the game. If this turns out alright as a video, and if it generates some interest, then my intention is to produce a number of other additional videos which will explain some of the rules, basically show the game in play. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully see you again soon. Bye.